Alright, let's talk about long division. So in the previous video I talked about just the basics of how we do long division. Old style, we'd say how many times does 5 divide into 20, and we would say 4 times 5, and then you get 20, and then you do a subtraction, get 0, you bring this number down, it's a 5, and you say what gives you 5, and 5 times 1, so you get a 5, and then you 0 out. What this actually is doing is it's creating the factors, 2 factors of 205. One factor is a 5, and one factor is a 41. Let's show you how the same thing happens here. So we say, how many times does x go into 3x squared? Well, it goes 3x times. And when you multiply 3x times x, you get 3x squared. And when you subtract that, we get 0. We bring down the negative 10x. And you say, how many times does x go into negative 10x? It goes in negative 10 times, and you get negative 10x. And again, when you subtract that, negative and negative cancels out. And again, what we just did is we found that x and 3x minus 10 are indeed factors of 3x squared minus 10x. Let's show you some more examples of polynomial long division. Alright, now this is a little more different than the last one, but let's take a look at how it's going to work. We want to know how many times our guy is going to go into x squared. So I'm going to say it goes x times, because x times x, or x times x times x gives us x squared. So let's put that in. X times x is x squared, and then x times 1 is another x. So we get 1x. Now, again, we subtract these guys. So the reason we did this is these guys cancel nicely. And 5x minus 4x, or minus 1x, is 4x. Then we bring down the 4. And we say, how many times does x times what? It goes into 4x. Well, that's just simply 4. And 4 times x is 4x. And then times 4 times 1 zeroes it out, because when you subtract, it zeroes it out. So what we just found out is that x plus 1 and x plus 4, those two things together, make this guy right here. Alright, this is quite a big one, but let's try it out. So I need to multiply something times x to get 2x to the cubed. So I think I need to multiply by a 2 and also by an x squared, because when I multiply that out I get 2x cubed. That's multiplying this guy times this guy. Now we multiply this guy times this guy, and we get 6x squared. So we subtract that whole thing. These guys cancel, and I get 13 minus 6 is 7x squared. Oops, that's a squared there, by the way. Bring down the 27x's. And then I say, how many times does x go into that? Well, that would be 7x times, because then I get 7x squared. And then 7x times 3 is 21x. When I subtract that, I get 6x. Down comes the 18. And then I say, how many times, what do I multiply by x to get 6x? Well, that's just 6, that's easy. And watch the fun that's going to happen. We get 6x, and then the 6 times 3 happens to be our 18 that we were hoping for. And when I subtract that, I get 0. So it's a bit of a mess here. Let's see if I can get it out of the way here. What we get, let me use a different color, is that x plus 3 and 2x squared plus 7x plus 6 together equal that bigger polynomial. So again, what this actually is allowing me to do is, this is a different way to factor. Because factoring is just simply, to factor is another way just to say to divide into it. And if you can divide into it without a remainder, you are indeed a factor. Let me do another one. All right, this last question, let's try one more. This one's got a little trick to it. Well, I don't know. We got to find 2x to the third. Well, that's not actually too bad. We have 2x already. So if we multiply by, I think, x squared, we would get 2x to the third, and then we would get 1x squared. Now again, we're going to subtract that off, so that gives us 12x squared, bring down our 16 x's. And let's see, 2 times 6x would give us 12x squared, and then 6x. Subtract that off, we get 10x there, and we bring down our 5. It's going to work out nice. If I multiply by 5, I get 10x squared plus 5, and I get our 0 value. And again, what I'm doing is I'm multiplying this 5 times this 2x plus 1, and that's what gave me this, gave me that. And then I subtract it off, and I get the value. The whole purpose of this is to find our factors and break it down.